The nature of increase is this. It is not addition, it is expansion. Addition brings something in from outside and places it alongside what is already there. Expansion is different. Expansion is what was already within, occupying more, becoming more fully what it already is. Increase, understood correctly, is not gathered. It is released, not taken from elsewhere, allowed to continue from within. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 226 of 365, to focus on the world within from the world without. Today's focus, the law of increase, the nature of increase. Pause for a moment. Yesterday, you were introduced to the law. Today, you understand what increase actually is. The nature of increase is this. It is not addition, it is expansion. Addition brings something in from outside and places it alongside what is already there. Expansion is different. Expansion is what was already within, occupying more, becoming more fully what it already is. Increase, understood correctly, is not gathered. It is released, not taken from elsewhere, allowed to continue from within. Pause. Consider what expansion means. A single note held on an instrument does not become a different note as it swells. It becomes fuller, richer, more fully itself. The note was never small and then made large by something added to it. It simply continued, and continuing, it expanded. This is the nature of increase, not a different life arriving from outside, the same life, the one already within, continuing without restriction, becoming more fully expressed. Thought is within, effect is without, and thinking stands between. Pause for a moment. The nature of increase includes one essential quality. It does not require permission from what is physically seen. Undisciplined thinking waits for evidence before it will consider increase possible. It looks at the current condition, measures it, and concludes, this is what is available, this is the ceiling. But the nature of increase is not bound by present appearance. What is physically seen is a report of what has already unfolded, not a limit on what can. The seed within does not consult the fruit already picked before deciding how much more it can produce. It simply continues, and continuing, it increases. Pause. There is a quality that characterizes the thinker who understands increase. It is quiet expectancy, not urgency, not grasping, not the anxious counting of what has not yet arrived. Quiet expectancy, the expectancy of one who knows that what is sustained within is already moving toward greater expression, and who therefore does not need to force what is already unfolding. This expectancy is not wishful. It is the natural posture of a thinker who understands that increase is the nature of life itself when nothing interrupts it. Pause. The nature of increase does not change with circumstances. Conditions narrow. Conditions widen. The visible picture rises and falls, but the nature of increase remains constant beneath it. It is not conditional on the market, on the season, on what others decide. It is the nature of what is sustained within, continuing, unrestricted. The thinker who understands this does not look to conditions to determine whether increase is available. They look within to what is being sustained, because what is sustained within increases, and what increases from within must physically express. Pause for a moment. Consider the tide. The tide does not accumulate water from elsewhere and pile it onto the shore. It is the same ocean rising, fuller in its reach, further in its expression, then settling back, never depleted, always whole. Increase understood correctly has this same quality. It is not a pile being built beside a life. It is a life already whole, reaching further into its own expression. Pause. This is why increase pursued as mere accumulation so often disappoints even when it arrives. A thinker who chases more for its own sake, more without direction, more without a recognized seed behind it, often finds that the more, once obtained, still feels like less, because accumulation was never the nature of increase. Expression was. True increase feels like becoming more fully yourself, made visible. Not a stockpile beside your life more completely expressed. That is the nature you are learning to recognize and to sustain. Pause. One more distinction, and it is an important one. Increase is quiet. It does not need to be announced to be real. It does not require an audience, a proclamation, or proof offered to anyone else before it is permitted to continue developing. Much of what looks like increase in the world is actually noise. Loud declarations made before anything has truly unfolded, designed to convince others or perhaps to convince the thinker themselves. True increase does not need this kind of noise. It develops in the quiet of what is sustained within, and it announces itself eventually simply by becoming visible. Now, the affirmation for day 226. Pause for a moment. Life increases from within. Increase is not something I add, it is something I allow. I do not force it, I do not strain toward it. I recognize increase within and I sustain thinking upon it. I do not follow what is physically seen. I remain steadfast through what is not yet seen. What is sustained within increases, and what increases must physically express. Remember, by design, by focus.